Good afternoon. Good afternoon for a Saturday afternoon, and I'm glad that you're here. We have quite a few listeners online and watching the webinar. And today's topic is about post-COVID-19. We want it to be a post-COVID-19 discussion because back in March, and we thought it would be over by now. And obviously, things are not quite done. And but we have to mentally and regard that as a post-COVID-19, so we can move on to continue with our business, with our life. And so today's topic is all about going after COVID-19 and what we should do, what is needed to be done. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself, and my name is Ying. I serve on the National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel. It is a federal advisory committee to advise Internal Revenue Service, IRS. So for ideas how to improve IRS, and you can email me and I'll bring that to the panel. And for advices to IRS and to continue to make the IRS a government agency that reflected to the taxpayers' needs. And I'm also a author of a book, and I am working really hard on the second book, which is Appointment with Ying at 10 a.m. When I wrote the first book, and it was really for people who wants to start up a business and don't know where to start. So in the book, I literally did analysis on your sort of your personality, but I use immigration as kind of way to see which country you're coming from. Then that defines how you would conduct your business activity. So it's a book of self-understanding, then that lead to the business environment and the things that one should know when they do business in US. So I got a lot of comments from the readers telling me that how interesting that is. The book is. So I believe that it will be a good read for you while you are quarantined at home, or maybe thinking of to do something totally brand new after this pandemic. So it's a good starting point. And I do have to put out a no responsibility disclaimer for the content I divulge here. And I, of course, done my studies and with my experience, with my firm's staff's experience, and we put this together for you. And we believe that it will benefit you a lot more than you not coming on board to listen to participate in the webinar that we have here. And so from this point on, let's just dive into COVID-19, post-COVID-19. Before we go beyond COVID-19 point, I want everyone to kind of take a broader look of what government has done for the businesses or for individuals so far. Because all of these things they did right now is actually going to dictate how our life gonna be after post-COVID-19. So there is nothing you get from government that would be for you for free. And things, yes, they may be for free because you got the PPP loan, and it is a large amount. You got it, and you can use it for free to help your own business. But to really get that loan to be forgivable, and then you are talking about all these compliance things that you need to know right now. So we want to kind of understand what are all the assistance we have so far. So we knew stimulus check, that one, some of us already have that money deposited into your bank account. And know that you do have responsibility, and you think you're done getting that money? No, because you need to report that in 2020. When I say you report that in 2020, so when we are doing individual taxes in 2020, there will be a new line to ask you, did you receive your stimulus check? That's where you need to reflect whether you did or not. Let's say if you didn't receive it, or you were not qualified to receive it, but for whatever reason you received it, it will be adjusted on the 2020 tax return. So there, you got stimulus check, you have a responsibility to report, and that money is free to you according to the government, but whether it is a free to the state government, and right now we don't have an answer because the state government can come in to tax you for that 2,400 your family gets. So again, that is something that post pandemic and we need to think about. And the EIDL loan application for the 10,000 free and your SBA loans that coming through, those are the SBA loan when you apply, and you would already laid out what you use that for. So whatever you do post COVID-19, these are the answers you need to answer the government. So again, having that right bookkeeping, having right accounting for account the money you received, knowing where you spend is becoming increasingly important. And because all of these government funds, if you are not use them properly, you could be charged criminally. It is not like you didn't pay taxes. Oh, well, we're just going to make up the tax payment, pay interest penalty, we're done. And that is not in the same line of nature. It is a felony charge when you are not keeping records straight for government. PPP loans is another one, and a large sum coming to the business, and those are government assistance and local government grants. And so we knew some small businesses here in Iowa receiving $25,000 local government grants. Those are so far there is no legislature saying that this is free, so it will be taxed as income both on the federal and the state. But if later on they change their mind and had things come out saying it's not taxable, but you got to do this and that, then you have to have those records together, right? And unemployment benefit expanded, yes, expanded, and more money, then again, that's a compliance too. And so you can receive the money, but you are also going to end up paying it back if you are not in compliance with the requirement. For example, some state will say that you got to look for a job every week to prove that. Some states say, well, you don't have to. So you really need to understand what you're getting. Retention credit for employer. This is a big deal, and not a lot was said about this one. Generally speaking, it is the employer and who gets a bunch of money saved when they were paying for 941 quarterly tax returns. So quarter two, when you pay quarter two 941, you can think of to apply for this credit. But yes, you can apply for credit, not paying it, then there is things that you need to do after you get these assistance. And one thing I want to mention to you is that right now, the pandemic just started, right? So we got into this COVID-19, and there's a lot of things are not being predicted now is happening. For example, oil price dropped the way it is. I don't think there was much of a prediction for that. And so our economy is going downwards so fast. And that scares not just the government, scares the big business owners as well. People with money, and they are losing a lot as well. So with all of these things going on, government assistance will lessen. And you cannot expect the same assistance we're getting right now. It's gonna repeat when in the winter if COVID-19 coming back. So there's a lot of, we got government assistance, but it is really something that we cannot expect it to have if COVID-19 gonna go literally 18 months. So the new understanding of post-COVID-19 is not about COVID-19 is being done. It's about COVID-19 is being a way of life. becoming part of environment we're in. It's almost like if you end up living in the jungle, you just know that you can't keep your shoes clean anymore, right? So it is a lifestyle change. I think all of us, especially small business owners, we probably need to be really mentally prepared. Maybe the same small business we used to do is not going to be possible. We have to be innovative. If we're regarding ourselves as an innovative group of people, because we're so great, we moved our life from nothing to today, we have something. So maybe you can do that all over again, not because you immigrant to the new country, it's because you are coming into a new year, a new time, that COVID-19 is part of the life. So the reality is COVID-19 is going strong. We didn't see it going down. Lifestyle of some people and it could not be changed. So they're protesting liberty, freedom. They want to be on the beach and every day with million people around them. And with summer coming, the spread may continue. In fact, the CDC were saying that it's going to get worse, it's not get better. Okay, so that's just our reality. From macro point of view, when we look at the economy, look at the country, look at the world in a broader vision, it's almost like if we look at the globe from the satellite standpoint, and this economy right now where we are is becoming a choice between money, economy versus life. So reflected in here in US, and we have such a strong party place here. So it will be reflected as a political choice, whether it is Republicans' choice and Democrats' choice, it is choice of party lines versus life of the frontline American. And listen to the mayor of Las Vegas. And that is stunning to me. That is a disregard of life that is just unbelievable that is existed in US. But the reality is, you know what, I am not running for political positions, so I'm not in the position to change anything. So you are not in the position to change anything either. So what we need to do is to really take a micro view of our life and just mind this small scale of business we are doing. For me and for Community CPA, we want to be the backbones for the small businesses. So we mind of you. We want to make sure you're okay. And one of the things we tell you is that you got to be mentally tough and you got to be willing to trash the past, start new again. And what you did in the past may not work. It just may not work with COVID-19. Be part of our lifestyle and sort out what matters to you. If you are making a lot of money because you did that and reevaluate what you did, maybe you're not going to make a lot of money anymore for doing the same. But you could still make a lot of money if you're doing something different. But how that is different is really, no one can really be here to tell you, oh yeah, I have an idea for you. You go do that, you will make money. It is really about us using that entrepreneurship, using our creativity. And how did you come to America? How did you start your small business? Use that same energy and figure out post-COVID-19. So here I have a couple of things I want to brainstorm with you, and is, I sort of listed 4 industries and what is COVID-19 is going to do to all of these industries. We have over 9,000 clients in our firm, and if we are not smart ourselves, we are we are well versed with clients' input and the discussion. So we obviously don't share client name by name basis, but we share the spirit, we share the understanding, we share the industry trends. So for retails, and the retails, it is known to be that when the cash register is running beep, 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 that means good business. when there's a lot of people on the floor buying all kind of things, and they are lined up a mile long, that's a good business. Is that a good business anymore with COVID-19? No. And that is a business will put life in danger if you are still thinking that way. So what do you do? And I don't have a fixed answer for you, but I say that you need to think of innovative way so people can still shop, but would not have that dangerous act to be next to each other and crowded on the same square footage to get the same merchandise. Maybe I'm talking about online, maybe I'm talking about delivery, and maybe I'm even talking about taking a number and waiting in the car, waiting for your turn. And so, come on, you know what I mean. You need to think if you are in retails. Service company. Service companies are like the law firm, the CPA firm, the real estate agent, and all of these are servicing companies. And what is your life gonna be? And I don't, I don't speak for every professional service companies, but I do know majority of them are already online operating. I am already on webinars instead of seminars because I used to do just this in a classroom setting. We get a lot of people coming in, we talk face to face, and I talk to 20, 30, 70 people at a time. But now it is this, I'm on the screen and I have you, and I know you are listening to me and I talk to you. So it is similar, but not the same. But this is the way to combat the COVID-19 in our own way, right? So service company is the same. Personal service companies like barber shops and nail shops and massage places and things like that, touching people, having that physical connection is almost a must. What do? Are you going to say that, no, I'm just not going to do that business anymore? No, maybe you're so good with nail art, you have to do it. It's just part of your living, a part of your life. And if that's the case, you need to think of what's going to happen with the virus being the way it is. What do you do? And think really hard and think just your little place, and you don't have to worry about the other big nail shop. What do they do? No, you just worry about yourself. And this is how we are going to survive one by one and one business at a time. Okay, restaurants, entertainment industries, that environment of dim light, quiet place, and here's couple eating and good food and a good service, and that is questionable right now. We don't know what that's gonna be, and so maybe people has to be more spaced out. Maybe the restaurant used to have 1,000 seats capacity, now need to be 50 seats capacity. Maybe the restaurant can only serve 50 set of people instead of 100 set of people because of the time and also the space that needed for under one roof. But you can still make it. You can still make it by making your price adjustment, making your environment adjustment, and making that safe and making that so obvious people know that they can eat at your place and they don't catch COVID-19. So there's so many things that you need to think about, and I call it restart. This is not the same. And don't ever think that your business is going to be the same. The most you will get is the summertime right now. Maybe it's July and August. You got the taste of normal because the virus, according to CDC, the virus is kind of dormant when the temperature is high. So let's say that's true. And so less people get infected. Our death rate is going down, and we think we are coming into a end. Then CDC also warned us that this fall could be the worst pandemic ever. And you expect the government gonna give you another set of PPP, you can forget about it, okay? So if that really comes in, small business owners, I will tell you, you should have already figured out a way to survive by then. So this is a restart today. Think about what you're gonna do in the winter when pandemic come back 3 times stronger, okay? care for your workers and their safety just become the thing, because if you don't, you know what's going to happen? You don't have anybody work for you. How much can you work on your own? Maybe you can, but then you need to care for yourself, right? So it's a thing. You have to spell out what you do for your workers in order them to feel that they're safe. Who is going to work the work but losing their life? Someone will, but not mine, not my employees, and not yours. Especially in the professional field, you don't expect that. They will go for their life first, then work second. I don't blame them. Okay, so then what left for you as a small business owner, you need to figure it out. And I'm thinking really hard what to do with the building that I have. And with all these cubicles less than 6 feet away from each other. And what do? Do I reorganize the building? Maybe I will. I'm still thinking about it, but this is where we need to show that care to your employee. Okay, small business, we don't have 1,000, 200,000 employees like Wells Fargo does, and we have just a few. So maybe we can make the few are not going to be victim of COVID-19. And budget for loss of revenue. Open up new ways to make money. So I say that you budget for the loss of revenue, the revenue that you used to make, the revenue that you used to get, because you're not going to get the same revenue again. And then you open up new ways. And I can see that if I am a salon business owner, I can see myself not making the old money the same way anymore, because I cut hair is only $25 a person. But with COVID-19, with all these disinfecting and all this work I do, all the scaled out appointment I must have, and maybe I will not do the same number of clients anymore. It is strictly by appointment, and I raise the price. So is my revenue still the same? Maybe, but my revenue is not the same kind of revenue anymore, because I have to cope with my need plus the need of my customer, right? So this is the thought we have here at Community CPA for small business owners to think of how to restart your business. Definitely not a copy of the past. Definitely not. It has to be different. And post COVID-19, it is about compliance. I know a lot of our clients, a lot of our business people already received Paycheck Protection Program money. Okay, it's already in the bank account. And so now, after this COVID-19, the biggest thing is to get that to be forgivable, which means that if you receive $250,000, you need to work your step to make the $250,000 not a loan. It's forgived. You don't have to pay it back. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It is also not taxable. Did you hear me? It is also not taxable, but you got to do work to make it happen. So I laid out I did a quick summary of the things that you need to do post COVID-19 to get this one squared away for yourself. So number one, you need to remember your money that you received covers 8-week period of payroll. 8 weeks period of payroll, and of the 8 weeks period, your mortgage obligation, your 8 weeks period rental obligation, your 8 weeks period of utility payment, and of course, the biggest one is your payroll. So if you just simply know this is the 8 weeks period, and then you know that to add those up, they should equal to the amount of loan that you get right now from PPP. If that is equal, that means this money can be forgiven. This money don't have to pay back to SBA, and this money don't have to show up on your tax return to pay taxes for. So this money is completely forgiven just for you to get by with 8 weeks. So you may ask me, well, when did I start the 8 weeks? The 8 weeks starting, the exact language from the government guideline is 8 weeks on the day, starting on the date of origination. And English is my second language, and I don't quite understand origination word in this particular act. So by reading other things, and I think origination here means the date you received the money. So there goes. You need to work on that. That's a post COVID-19 requirement. Okay. And this PPP amount is no tax on forgiven portion of the loan. For purpose of Internal Revenue Code of 1986, any amount that would be included in the gross income of the eligible recipient by reason of forgiveness described in the subsection B shall be excluded from gross income. Very wordy, but I just want you to know that it's not taxable, okay, if it is forgiven. So you need to get that ready. And now, so how do you, then you probably ask me that, well, now I got PPP and I am working on post COVID-19 activities and I want to apply for that. And how do I apply for that? And do you remember which is the bank who gave you that PPP dollars? Maybe it is your West Bank, okay? And West Bank did, local West Bank did a lot of small business PPP. I have seen that through my clients. So I actually really appreciate what they're doing. And so maybe they are the one give you the money. But if that's the case, and you want to apply with them, so you need to talk to your banker, say, hey, now I'm ready, 8 weeks passed, and I'm ready to apply. So here I have 4 documentation requirements I want to mention to you really quickly. You can take a picture of this slide, so you keep that in your record. And we also have our webinar recording saved in our website, and it's also on Facebook. And I really want you to know that what you need to prepare, okay? Because sometimes once time passes by, you may say that, well, you didn't tell me from beginning, so I didn't do it. And so I want to tell you now before you even get it, before you even start to spend it. You need to save the documentation to verifying the number of full-time employees on payroll, the pay rate for the 8 weeks period, that including payroll tax filing report to IRS, also state income, payroll, unemployment insurance filings. What does that mean? That means they want you to show 941 and also unemployment filing, and also state income and payroll submission. So there are some people were saying that, well, if they do that, see, my payroll is only monthly. I don't do it every week. And maybe an idea is that you maybe start doing it weekly, just for this 8 week. So that way you have a clean record of this money, how that was spent. And documentation also including canceled checks. So they want to make sure you really paid for it, payment receipt, transcript of account, or other document verifying payments on covered mortgage obligation. So let's say if you paid a mortgage payment, the interest portion was $800, and they want you to show them that the mortgage statement did reduce by that much, the interest did get paid. Then also payment on covered lease obligation. If you want to say that, oh, I paid rent Then where is your rent agreement? Where is your receipt from the landlord? So those are the things you need to get. Covered utility payment, show the payment bills, show the utility payment got paid. So those are the documentation they want to see. And a certificate from the bank that you got money from, and to make a declaration, to sworn into a statement. The statement will say that all the document you give to the bank is true and accurate, and the amount for forgiveness is requested was used for the right purposes. So like you have to like affidavit that, right? So that is a thing you will get from the financial institution. You will sign for that. And well, you could be compliance reviewed by SBA. So they said, well, we got this, we got that, but we want other document to show that you did use the PPP amount properly. They could come over to ask you for more information. So this is what on the PPP side, we need to be aware of. And I want to tell you that I never really see compliance as a, I guess as all negative things. You know, compliance is actually normally earmarks recovery. And after 2008, if you remember when we had the financial crash meltdown on Wall Street, and the compliance came after, so there's bank folded and there's story unrun, people like that came out of the woodwork. You know, basically closet filled with skeletons just busted open. And compliance is always come after recoveries. When things are when the urgent things are done, you got the money and the government print all the cash for you already. And now they came back, goes, oh, you know, we give so much money, economy is getting better, let's do compliance. So that's how my understanding of my 50-some years life experience, and I would say that compliance come with recovery. And if we really get to COVID-19 struggles, or when COVID-19 become part of our life and the government stop to fight with it, and we just let people die as naturally, if that ever happen, and then compliance will come. And IRS audit on business loss will come, because 2020 is a year for loss. So there's going to be so much loss in the system. The tax revenue will go down. And for, you know, my understanding, how did we run the government if we don't have tax income? So the auditor will be busy. They will be audit businesses and making sure that you all pay taxes, because they don't believe that COVID-19 send every business to the ditch, which is correct. There are businesses are booming. And, you know, for example, the webinar, you know, our webinar use zoom.com, and the Zoom company is booming, right? So there are business arrive at the right place at the right time, and they will go well. I'm not saying that they're just pure luck, and they, you know, they really is the business coming a long time and just boomed at the right time. And we always say that, you know, in Chinese slang, there is a saying goes, I forgot the Chinese, something then says 成事在天, which means that it doesn't matter your human effort of it, and the real success is coming from the mighty power. In Chinese, it says the sky, but in American language, you can say it's God. So it's God makes that final draw to tell you you are successful. So their business are successful, and IRS will not forget. Some business are doing well, and some business having, if your business generally doing okay and you have a huge loss, you know that you will be audited because you are not normal. So with PPP, and remember you got that money is not taxable, and you already offset your 8 weeks salary, utility, rent, all of these things, and you think you're going to show up that again on the deduction, that would be a key factor for IRS to go after you. IRS could set up a program just audit for those 8 weeks of your expenses. So there goes IRS audit, and I'm expecting it to come. And the IRS audit on stimulus check payment, that should not be paid to certain individuals, okay? And so IRS will design 2020 tax form to make that correction automatically, but IRS would also can come to investigate people, and you should not be getting it. Maybe you have ITIN and you should not be getting it. You're married to a person with social security number and you should be filing a joint return for the marriage you didn't. And now one got the stimulus check, one didn't. No, you shouldn't get it as a couple. So there's things that they could come back to audit. And I am just laying it out. It is a compliance and a part of the recovery. The state audit on business deductions and income inclusion for state funding. All right, in Iowa, some business got $25,000 from the state to help with a difficult time. What is that? That's income. There's no legislation yet to say that is not income, so you need to include that in your income. You pay federal tax, you pay state tax, and not like PPP. PPP money has been said clearly is not taxable income, okay? But these dollars from the state funding is not said clearly. And the business who takes retention credit also should not double down on the deduction. This is the payroll audit. And the Department of Labor love to do payroll audit, okay? So what I mean by double down, I mean for the employer who already have a retention credit made, that means they didn't pay 940 taxes during the second quarter or third quarter and the fourth quarter. And if you didn't pay that taxes, you should not reduce that out of your income. You really should be paying income taxes on that portion of you already got credit for. So those are double down. You cannot be claiming credit that also deducted that what we call the double down on deduction. So that would be a good one to audit people. And the Department of Labor payroll audit for employee who should be hired back to work or position should be filled and you didn't, because that's what PPP is all about. And that could become a point, a hot point for audit. So all of these we're talking about is a very easy to imagine compliance we will face, just because we will come to a stage time where, you know, it marks the rescue is done, now is clean house. So that's just how government operates. So compliance, one of the key compliance factor in this whole thing, other than I was talking about tax related, and its eligibility is also a big deal for compliance. For example, and on the PPP money that people get, and you see some company already returned money because they are not eligible for that amount, for that rescue. They could survive on their own. They don't have to have the rescue money to survive. Small businesses are really the one. Actually, some of the things, you know, the first round of PPP funding didn't go to small business. There's so many small businesses already dead because of that. Because they should have it, they didn't have it, then they couldn't hold on to it. So we already see a lawsuit from two small business owners sue a large financial institution for ignoring their application, but giving millions, 10 millions, 20 millions, 30 millions to large corporations don't even need that money. And so, you know, I am pretty glad that they sued they sued the bank because they should be sued. And this money is not for some decorative spending. It is for the need of small business. So eligibility is going to be a big thing. And the government could come back to you, say you're not even eligible for that help. So return all the money. I don't care you spend on the payroll or not. I don't care you have rent to pay or not. You're just not eligible. So one thing I want to mention to here is the retention credit. Retention credit is something that there is nobody helping you to decide. You as an employer, you do it yourself. You know, when you apply for PPP, the bank was there. The bank was there doing the underwriting and making sure you're eligible, so you got it, right? But the retention credit is something that nobody helps you. You are an employer, you need to decide. So the eligibility is a thing. And for example, you could end up not paying 941 taxes at all for the second quarter if two things happen. They don't have to happen at the same time, but one of the two. Number one is if your sales went down by 50% compared to the last year, the same time. So let's say we are in April, and your sales in April went down by more than 50% now compared to 2019, then you are eligible. You should have that saved, okay? So I just want you to remember, if you are an employer and your sales went down that much, and you also have your other things you are applying, but this is one that is immediately available. You don't need a bank to approve you. You do it yourself, okay? And or other than the sales, or you are closed by the government order, like restaurants in Minnesota, you just cannot operate. Okay, you can only do certain things, but you cannot operate like dining in facility. So that will already qualify you. So those are the things we want to say that the eligibility is important. When you take that responsibility to yourself, just make sure you have community CPA to help you, or you have a very strong accountant behind you, knows what you're doing, because those are the answers you have for the compliance review after we pass COVID-19. So be aware of those requirements and receive government help, but at the same time, work with community CPA. So this is kind of my note to say that whatever government assistance you're getting, just make sure you have a strong support on your financial side. It is even more important than before. Maybe before you are doing it yourself on the Excel, or you have an accountant and who use Excel for you, and whatever you do. But right now, with all these government assistance in place, the benefit you could get and the audit you could invite, and you need a good CPA firm. Of course, I recommend community CPA. We are known to be the firm that we're doing it right, and we definitely don't do it wrong. So I want to make sure that we safeguard your interest, but there is no chance for us to go on the wrong side to protect the interest in the wrong way. So we want you to get what you can get, but on the compliance side, we'll make sure you are in compliance. And look at this. This is a government paper about bookkeeping and record keeping and compliance in general. Did you see that first line? They want you to keep it for 4 years, okay? And so this is everything they want. They're asking a lot. And so the last 2 bullet points says that documentation and to show your eligibility for employee retention credit based on suspension of operation and a significant decline in gross receipt. Do you know how you can save that? How you can prove that? You have to print out your filing in 2019 and print out the filings for now and to document that. You cannot let that go. It is important, okay? So now, we talked about the compliance, and we talk about eligibility compliance, And now we say you must plan your 2020 tax. 2020 tax is not going to be the same. Let me tell you why. Because your business received government assistance and your stock went from a positive number to a negative number. Instead of having money in the stock portfolio, you might be owing money to the margin account. And you may started a new business. Maybe the old pre-COVID-19 business doesn't fit you. Now you started a brand new one. So that's when we say that you start a new business and you borrowed money from SBA. You borrowed money from the government. So that means your compliance is required. Your business changed the way it was before. Now the old structure doesn't even work. For example, you have a restaurant, you were running it on your own. Now you know that your little restaurant not going to be able to take many clients anymore with COVID-19. So you're switching your restaurant into an online sale. Then you got a new partner to come with you who is good with the online side of things. Suddenly, from sole proprietor, you become a partnership. So your way of business is changing. That's what we say that your 2020 tax return not going to be the same. And you bought merchandise from other country with COVID-19, it was stopped at the port and never arrived, and you are in litigation. Okay, you think I put there because I didn't know several people already end up this way? And if I don't need my two hands, but I have one hands up, at least I know 5 businesses are doing that. So that's not a incident that happens all over the place. And with all of these madness, you decide to pass your business on to your son, and things change at home. Yeah, and you decided you had enough, and this is your son's business. See, your 2020 just so eventful. You have a lot of things going on. But who knows, maybe your son doesn't want this to be part of his life. And so you had a tax structure to work with. You got to think complete. And maybe you're divorced. And one of my clients is a law firm. And so I was just talking to the business owner, the law firm owner, briefly lately. And no other cases are coming up, only divorce cases. So you think divorce is a thing during the COVID-19? I don't know why it is a thing, but a lot of them. So if you are divorced in this 2020, then there's a lot to change. Even your stimulus check need to be adjusted. So just so you know that you need to plan your 2020. And when you plan your 2020, I want you to think about community CPA. This is the whole reason why we are here. We are alive, and we want to show you that we can, so you can rely on us and do your business with us post COVID-19. And isn't that true? I am doing the same thing I'm telling you to do, to develop things that for the COVID-19 to last. If it lasts, we don't stop. We can last, and with a different way of surviving. Okay, estate planning. You know what? So I was talking about the divorce being more. Do you know that more estate planning than ever coming into the firm, coming into community CPA? So more and more people worried about their life, worried about what happened if I die tomorrow with COVID-19, and what's going to happen to my $1 million business, and who is going to do what. So estate planning become a thing. And let me just quickly introduce to you. And the estate planning side, our firm has been doing estate planning for at least 15 years. We have attorney on board, so we have this full package going on from the tax aspect to legal aspect. And estate planning is something that we had a lot of experience with. At Community CPA, we advocate for what we call the Community CPA wealth mix. And we have 5 component mix that we say that if you're really, really responsible for your future, you need to have these 5 items in your wealth planning. And sometimes when my client come to my office before COVID-19 time, I even write those 5 on their fingers because they couldn't remember. So I just write them on their each one of their fingers so they remember, and they're gonna do it for the 5 wealth mix. Number 1, life insurance. Community CPA, we don't sell life insurance. Okay, but we know life insurance agent who are our client. So if you want us to recommend you one, we will recommend you one. And we have those ones we worked for years and years. We understand how they work and we trust their service. Number 1, life insurance. Number 2, real estate properties. You have to have life insurance. You have to have real properties. If you are really astute, a businessman, businesswoman, and with wealth management equipped in your mind. And a 401k retirement investment you have to have. And gold and precious metal you must have. And in your home or in the safe, wherever you put it. And that is a hard currency. I'm talking about real hard currency. So you must have. And then stock market investment portfolio. I know now you say that, whoa, Ying, I wish that I didn't do that because I did 5 of what you said. Now my stock market is the worst. Of course it's the worst. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. And you should have it. And I would say that now, because it's tanked the way it is, maybe for some industry, it's a good time to buy. So I am not a financial planner. I certainly don't do investing myself, but you have one. So you go talk to them about your stock market. But these 5 mix are important. I want you to remember all of them, get all of them. But in order to organize the 5 mix, and you have to have what we call the master portfolio, master binder, to put them all together to management. So we call that estate planning. And so that is to lay out the plan for all of the 5. So family living trust. So family living trust is the central hub of your estate plan with provisions for management, control, distribution, and during your lifetime or after your death. Okay, so this is a master. If you envision what that is, it's almost like a book that you have, that it is something that if you're gone or if you are incapable of thinking anymore, and someone would use that book to manage everything you have of the above 5. And then inside of the living trust, we always do what we call the schedule of asset, which is the place where we list all what you have and we update your beneficiaries. Who knows, maybe, you know, during COVID-19 and you got nothing to do, produced a couple of babies, and then they need to be updated. You don't want to forget them, right? And then we also do what we call the final will. Final will is the one that really is the final wishes for your dependents. You know, I have a typo there, and arrangement for specific details outlined. For example, we have a client, and out of their 4 children, one of them is disabled. So the parents would make sure that, like, you know, they have 4 kids, so supposedly it's 25% each, right? But for this disabled kid, they want to leave 50% of money for the disabled kid, so the other 3 will share the other 50. Those kind of arrangement has to come into the final will to be spelled out. So that way it can be carried out after you're gone. And a HIPAA authorization, of course, is important because your trust will tell people that who the doctors can give information to. Then your living will, it is important because you might be living, but you might not be able to think. At that time, don't you want someone to make a decision so you're not going to be on life support for the next 10 years? So those are the things is part of the estate planning and the POA, power of attorney. This is the place that you can designate your oldest son to do it. You can designate it community CPA representatives or your lawyers, and or maybe your sisters, your brothers, and anybody you want it. So you can
Give them the power so they can act when there is a need. You don't think that's needed? That's so needed right now. And if you don't even have that, we're going through COVID-19 and look at the death rate. And why do you think you're not one of those, right? So we can't take for granted we're here, we're talking, we're listening, and you really do have to plan. And if you have me to give a nickname for estate planning is called death planning. Very simple. Just plan how to die, not when to die. That's God's plan, not yours. But how to die and what happens after your death, that you can plan. Okay? And summary of today. Don't stop. Get ready for tomorrow now. That's why we're talking. And think micro. Think micro, not macro, not big. Think small so you can make changes effectively. Think how your little business is going to do. Don't worry about what Trump says. It's okay if he wants to inject people, whatever we want to do. And it's not necessary for small business. We just want to make sure your little place is in order. Okay? If we all do that, we will save America. And keep compliance in mind. Be vigilant and prepared. I actually have clients say to me that, oh, Ying, I don't want PPP because it's going to be a lot of compliance and it's too much trouble. And sure, if it is not $100,000, if you're applying for $1,000 on PPP, not worth it. But the PPP is going to benefit you a big time if you can meet the compliance requirement. Why not? You can meet it. You are community CPA's clients, will make sure you meet it. Otherwise, we don't apply that amount for you, right? And the plan today, please do it today. And the plan tomorrow, please do it today for tomorrow. And the plan for the rest of your living life, please do it today for the rest of your living life, because you have to start at some point of time, right? So it is really important you don't stop. You think about how to do business, you plan for your future, and be responsible human being. That's all we want to do, to be responsible. And this is our seminar, our webinar. I do webinar every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Saturday in particular, I tend to do it on my own, and I come up with a week worth of information to share that with you. And our webinar also goes on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Those 3 days are 3 different languages. Monday in Chinese, Wednesday in Vietnamese, Friday in Spanish. And we try to give you the updated information and really trying to connect you here. And instead of us spending time one-on-one, we just don't have the luxury to do that. Even if you tell me that you don't have COVID-19, but I don't know whether I do or not. So it is a safe measure for us to meet virtually. And I hope that you enjoy my webinar and come back again to me and check our website, communitycpa.com, to see what's coming and register, and it's always free. And so we want to always be around your life and guide you as we can. And we want you to say to us that because of us, and you survived COVID-19, and you succeeded in the plan of the future. Thank you, and see you again.